Hey parents, I'm so glad that you've tuned in to watch. I think we've got some exciting things coming up over the next several months to just help you be better parents, which is our goal here at Epoch. So in the year 1818, Mary Shelley published a book called Frankenstein. As you know, the book is about a doctor that creates a monster using parts of dead people. However, the underlying theme of the entire book is what happens when technology outpaces human ethics. Just because we can do something, does that mean that we should? Now, I've been a youth pastor for over the last more than 20 years and a parent for almost 16. And I've discovered that one of the greatest challenges to parenting is the questions what and when. What do I allow my kids to do, and when do I allow them to do it? The truth is that there are dozens of things that are available to them right now. Television, video games, cell phones, driving a vehicle, getting a job, wearing makeup, having a romantic relationship, opening a bank account, getting a credit card, choosing an elective at school, having a hobby, engaging in social media, playing a sport, or being in the band or any other extracurricular school activity, and so many more. The question for most isn't what will I allow, but when will I allow it? They're going to drive, and they're going to use a cell phone, and they're going to have a romantic relationship. So the question for us as parents is, when? Now, over 10 years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who worked for T-Mobile. He told me that the cell phone market was completely saturated for teenagers and adults, and that the new market that they were selling to were 9-year-olds. Like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, just because we can, should we? Just because a 9-year-old can legally use a cell phone, and just because she has the ability to choose apps or watch YouTube videos and Snapchat her friend, should she? Just because my son can binge an entire Netflix series on a lazy Saturday, should he? These are great questions to ask, and they require thoughtful conversation and some intention. I'd like to talk to you right now for the next few minutes on what the greatest job we have as parents. Now, what I think is the biggest job that we have is we are to prepare our children to adult, which you could actually call deparenting. John Townsend says that one day your children will need to face reality and handle it without your guidance. On their own, they'll need to make mature choices to follow Christ. They'll need to find great relationships to support their growth. They'll need to set their core values and morals, handle romance, dating, marriage, and family paths, and craft their passions and career. We can't just do everything for them, actions and decisions. And then when they turn 18, show them the door and say, good luck. Too often, we either give our kids everything too early. We say to them, here's the keys to the car. It's a 2,000-pound metal tank that has the power to kill, so go get them. Oh, and wear your seatbelt. Or on the inverse side, we say, here's a cell phone and access to all of the information that you could ever need, both healthy and unhealthy, appropriate and inappropriate, unfiltered for you to figure out everything on your own. So sometimes we give way too much, or sometimes we do this. We overprotect and we do everything for them. All of their chores, make all of their decisions, plan their entire lives, restrict them from everything, and never let them make an important decision. And then when they turn 18 years old or when they leave the house, we expect that they're ready to be an adult. Now, both of these methods are extremely unhealthy. We can't give them everything at once, and we can't wait until they leave our homes to begin to let them make decisions. I've heard dozens of teenagers tell me over the years that their parents told them, you can do what you want when you leave my house, or you can do this when you're paying your own bills. But I believe that we know there's a better way. So the question is, what is it? If the primary goal of parenting is to deparent, to raise a child to one day walk into adulthood prepared, then the key concept that we're working with here is character. In fact, what we're doing as parents is we're shaping character. And outside of unconditional love, it's the most important and the most sacred role of parenting. Now, when I talk about character, I don't just mean a child with good morals who makes right decisions. I mean it the way that Henry Cloud and John Townsend talk about it in Boundaries with Kids. This is what they say. Character refers to a person's ability and inability, his moral makeup, her functioning in relationships and how she does tasks. What does he do in certain situations and how does he do it? When she needs to perform, how will she meet those demands? Can she love? Can he be responsible? Can she have empathy for others? Can he develop his talents? Can she solve problems? Can he deal with failure? How does she reflect the image of God? So these are simply a few of the issues that define character. And when I talk about character, I'm referring to the entire makeup of a person. And that's what you as a parent are shaping. It's a great role. Whether you know it or not, whether you're intentional or not, you are shaping character. Scripture says it this way in Proverbs 22:6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he is old, he will not depart from it." Now you might be thinking, what in the world does that even mean? So the image is this. My dad and I, with our families, we built a house together about 5 years ago. And at our house, my dad has tried his hand at gardening, and we essentially have a farm. We have chickens, we have a garden with vegetables and pecan trees and walnut trees and apple trees and all kinds of fruit bushes that he's planted every single one of them. One of the first things that Dad built at our house was a wooden and chicken wire trellis. Now, trellis is a structure to help guide plants' growth. When my dad built his first trellis, the plant was barely out of the ground, but he built a large one. Over the last 4 years, the grapevine has run all over the trellis. It's followed the path that was set before to guide it, and it's taken the form of that trellis. It didn't freely grow into the sky, and it didn't run along the ground like runaway kudzu. It formed around the trellis, and that's what we do as parents. We're basically building a character trellis for our kids. In forming this trellis, we have some tools that are available. But before I talk about these tools, I'd like you to pause for a minute and ask yourself, in what ways am I de-parenting? How have I begun the process of character shaping or trellis making in my child's life? Maybe the best question that you can ask you and your spouse or you and the other guardians of your child, maybe the best question to ask one another is, what do I want my son or my daughter to look like when he or she leaves home? What kind of person do I want them to be when they begin their own family? When you've taken a few minutes with those thoughts, join me in the next video and we'll talk about the greatest tools available to you for shaping character.